Ambassador Rebecca Hunt checked her tablet one more time as the shuttle approached Haven 7. The orbital station gleamed against the darkness of space, a symbol of unity among thousands of alien species. Today marked humanity's first official meeting with the Galactic Council as full members, not just observers. Everything had to go perfectly. "You sure about bringing him?" Dr. Owen Fields asked from the seat beside her. He pointed at the carrier between them, where Badger lounged without a care in the world. The honey badger yawned, showing sharp teeth. The paperwork cleared. "He's my emotional support animal," Rebecca said. "Earth mammals are allowed under diplomatic immunity." Owen frowned. "He's not exactly a lapdog." "He's calming," Rebecca insisted, though she knew that was stretching the truth. Badger was many things. Calming was not one of them. The shuttle docked without incident. Rebecca carried the carrier herself, following the guide lights toward the main council chamber. Aliens of every shape and size filled the corridors. Some walked on 2 legs, others on 4 or 6. A few floated in bubbles of liquid. Most stared at the humans with curiosity. The council chamber was enormous. Curved seating rose in tiers around a central platform. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the space. Rebecca set Badger's carrier down beside her assigned seat and activated the magnetic locks. The carrier was rated for Earth's most persistent escape artists. It would hold. High Prefect Drokan of the Draxian Empire stood on the central platform. He was tall, with purple skin that shimmered under the lights. His eyes were completely black, and when he spoke, his voice boomed through translator speakers. "We welcome the humans," Drokan said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "Though we question the wisdom of admitting such a primitive species." Rebecca kept her expression neutral. This was expected. The Draxians had opposed humanity's admission from the start. "Your technology is borrowed," Drokan continued. "Your worlds are few. Even your biology is weak. You bring pets to formal gatherings." He gestured dismissively at Badger's carrier. Rebecca stood. "If I may respond, High Prefect. Speak, human. We may be new to the stars, but we earned our place here. Our species survived and thrived on a challenging world. We have much to contribute," Drokan laughed. The sound was harsh and mocking. "Challenging? Your Earth is a paradise compared to true death worlds. Your fauna is soft, easily broken." "I wouldn't say that," Owen muttered. Drokan heard him. "No? Perhaps a demonstration?" "Bring forth the Gleamfang." A door opened at the side of the chamber. 2 Draxian handlers entered, struggling with chains. Between them slithered a creature like a snake, but larger. Its scales were crystalline, reflecting light in rainbow patterns. The Gleamfang was beautiful and clearly deadly. Its fangs dripped with venom that sizzled where it hit the floor. "This is a juvenile," Drokan announced. "Engineered for perfection. Enhanced for lethality. A true predator, not a soft earth pet." Rebecca felt her jaw tighten. "Badger is not a pet. He's a honey badger, a species known for—" A click interrupted her. The magnetic lock on the carrier had disengaged. Rebecca spun around. The carrier door swung open. Badger emerged, stretched, and hopped down to the floor. "Owen," Rebecca hissed. "I didn't touch anything!" Owen checked his tablet frantically. The lock just failed. "That's impossible." Badger sniffed the air. He looked around the chamber with mild interest, then started walking. Not toward Rebecca. Not toward the exit. Straight toward the Gleamfang. "Someone stop that animal," Drokan commanded. Security moved, but Badger was already gone, disappearing through a maintenance hatch that should have been sealed. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. "Lockdown protocol," announced an automated voice. "Containment breach in progress." The Gleamfang's handlers struggled as their creature suddenly thrashed. The snake had caught Badger's scent and wanted to follow. The chain snapped. The Gleamfang shot forward, sliding through the same hatch with terrifying speed. Chaos erupted in the chamber. Species shouted in dozens of languages. Security teams rushed toward the exits. Rebecca grabbed her tablet and pulled up the station schematic. "Where are they going?" she asked. Owen linked his device to hers. "Tracking Badger's chip now. He's in the lower maintenance levels. Moving fast, and the Gleamfang?" Right behind him, Captain Yara Solis appeared beside them. She was human, part of the station's security force. "You need to tell me right now. How dangerous is your animal?" Rebecca hesitated. "Honey badgers are persistent." "That's not an answer. They have a reputation for being fearless," Owen added, "and for fighting things much larger than themselves." "Wonderful," Yara said sarcastically. She spoke into her communicator. All units, we have 2 loose predators in the maintenance levels. Approach with caution. Try to separate them before they... A sound echoed through the speakers, screeching, hissing, then a distinctly mammalian snarl. Silence followed. Get me visual, Yara ordered. A screen activated on the wall. Security footage showed a dark corridor. The Gleamfang lay coiled against one wall, its crystalline scales cracked in several places. It wasn't moving. Badger sat nearby, calmly grooming blood from his claws. The chamber fell silent, every eye fixed on the screen. That's impossible, Droken whispered. The Gleamfang is engineered to be unstoppable. Tell that to Badger, Rebecca said. The screen showed Badger finishing his grooming. He looked directly at the camera, yawned again, and wandered off down another corridor. Where's he going now? Yara demanded. Owen checked his tablet. Toward the food storage areas, I think. Of course he is, Rebecca said. Yara activated her communicator again. This is Captain Solis. We need containment teams on all levels. The Earth animal is still loose and apparently very dangerous. Drokan's face had turned a darker shade of purple. This proves nothing. One lucky fight against a juvenile. We have other creatures. Stronger, faster, more lethal. High Prefect, maybe we should... One of his advisors began. Deploy them all, Drokan ordered. I want that animal caught. I want the humans humiliated. Earth beasts are not superior to Draxian engineering. Rebecca exchanged a look with Owen. This is going to get worse, isn't it? Much worse, Owen agreed. Throughout Haven 7, security teams mobilized. In different areas of the station, cages opened. Creatures emerged, each one designed to be the ultimate predator. All had one mission: find and capture a single honey badger. Badger, meanwhile, had found the food storage. He had no idea he had just declared war on the most powerful empire in the galaxy. He was too busy breaking into containers of frozen meat. The legend was only beginning. Food Storage Unit 17 had never been breached before. The doors were solid titanium alloy, designed to withstand decompression events. Badger chewed through the rubber seal in under 3 minutes. Inside, he found paradise. Frozen meat from a dozen worlds, all waiting to be discovered. Yara watched the security feed with growing disbelief. How is he even doing that? Owen pulled up a file on his tablet. Honey badgers have extremely thick skin, up to 6 millimeters in some places. Arrows and spears mostly just bounce off. Their jaws can crunch through turtle shells. That's a turtle shell, not a security door. The principle is the same, Owen said. They're incredibly strong for their size, and they never give up. Ever. Rebecca monitored another screen showing incoming teams. Looks like the Rothani are sending something. 3 creatures materialized in the corridor outside the storage unit. They looked like large cats, but their bodies flickered between solid and transparent. Phase cats. Rebecca had read about them. They could partially shift out of normal space, passing through solid matter. Smart choice, Yara admitted. They can go through walls. Corner him from multiple angles. The phase cats moved silently. Their leader phased through the damaged door without making a sound. Inside, Badger looked up from a chunk of meat, his face covered in blood and grease. The phase cat growled. Its body solidified completely, preparing to pounce. Badger went back to eating. The phase cat attacked. Its claws raked across Badger's back. The thick skin absorbed most of the damage. Badger spun, latched onto the phase cat's leg, and bit down, hard. The phase cat yowled and tried to phase out, but Badger held on. When the cat flickered transparent, Badger somehow remained solid and attached. They phased together. What is happening? Yara demanded. Owen's eyes widened. I don't know. That shouldn't be possible. The phase cat rematerialized minus part of its leg. It limped away, mewing pitifully. The other 2 phase cats took one look at Badger and decided discretion was the better part of valor. They phased through the walls and didn't come back. Badger returned to his meal. Across the station, other species watched the footage. News of the impossible Earth beast spread quickly. The Centauri delegation conferred and decided to show these mammals what real predators looked like. They opened their containment pods and released the swarm hunters. 20 insectoid creatures scuttled through the ventilation system. Each one was the size of a large dog, with razor-sharp mandibles and a hive-mind intelligence. They moved as one, coordinating perfectly. They had never failed to capture a target. Badger had moved to a new location, following his nose toward more food. He found a crew cafeteria and was investigating the refrigeration units when the swarm hunters arrived. They emerged from vents on all sides, surrounding him completely. The attack was coordinated and vicious, but honey badgers evolved fighting bees that attacked in swarms. Badger dove into the mass of insects, biting, clawing, and shaking. His thick skin protected him from their mandibles. His natural aggression meant he targeted the swarm leaders first, disrupting their coordination. 10 minutes later, the surviving swarm hunters retreated back into the vents. They left 12 of their number scattered across the cafeteria floor. Badger had a few new scratches but seemed otherwise unbothered. He found a broken refrigeration unit and dragged out something that might have been cheese. The Kalrathi watched this with growing concern. Their representative, a being of pure energy housed in a mechanical shell, spoke to the council. "The organic approaches are failing. We will send our Voidstalker. Cybernetic, programmed, emotionless. It will not hesitate or retreat." The Voidstalker was a nightmare of metal and circuitry, 3 meters tall with 8 legs and multiple weapon systems. Its sensors could track prey through walls. Its processors calculated optimal attack patterns in microseconds. It was worth more than most small spacecraft. Badger had found a quiet storage room and was napping on a pile of cleaning supplies. The Voidstalker detected him immediately. It crashed through the door, weapons armed, ready to incapacitate and contain. Badger opened one eye. He looked at the massive machine. Then he closed his eye and went back to sleep. The Voidstalker's programming didn't account for prey that showed no fear response. It moved closer, extending a capture field. Badger's eyes snapped open. He launched himself at the machine's nearest leg joint, the weakest point in its armor. What followed was less a fight and more a lesson in determination. The Voidstalker had superior weapons, armor, and intelligence. Badger had absolutely no concept of giving up. He chewed through hydraulic lines. He clawed at sensor arrays. When the stalker shocked him with electricity, he bit harder. When it sprayed him with foam, he shook it off and kept attacking. The Voidstalker's processor tried to calculate victory conditions. Every scenario came back negative. The target would not stop. It would not flee. It would keep fighting until one of them ceased functioning. The stalker's survival protocols kicked in. It retreated, dragging its damaged leg behind it. Badger watched it go, chittered something that might have been satisfaction, and went back to his nap. By now, the entire galaxy was watching. Footage of Badger's fights spread across the networks. Aliens who had never heard of Earth suddenly wanted to know everything about this unstoppable creature. News anchors from 100 species provided commentary. "This is unprecedented. A crystalline being announced on the Rathani News Network. One animal has defeated 3 different apex predators. The humans call it a honey badger," another anchor added. "Preliminary research shows Earth is home to thousands of similar species. How did they survive? More importantly, how do the humans survive living with them?" On Haven 7, Rebecca and Owen had become inadvertent celebrities. Delegates approached them constantly, asking questions about Earth's biosphere. Rebecca tried to stay diplomatic. Owen had given up and was now showing anyone who asked his entire collection of Earth wildlife videos. "This is a hippopotamus," he explained to a group of fascinated insectoids. "They kill more humans per year than lions or crocodiles." "And you just live near them?" one insect asked, horrified. "Some people keep them in zoos." "You imprison them? Are you insane?" Droken watched all of this with growing fury. His Gleamfang was in medical care. The phase cats had retreated. The swarm hunters were decimated. The Voidstalker required extensive repairs, and the humans were becoming popular with other delegations. "This is unacceptable," he told his advisors. "We are the Draxian Empire. Our creatures are superior. Our science is superior. One small mammal cannot defeat us." His chief scientist hesitated. "High Prefect, perhaps we should reconsider. The creature appears to have no fear response. It may be mentally deficient." "Then we fight stupidity with intelligence," Drokan said. "Release the devourer prototype." "High Prefect, that creature is classified as an extinction-level threat. It's banned under 7 different treaties. I said release it. It will consume everything in its path, including one honey badger," Drokan said with satisfaction. Deep in the station's forbidden levels, a massive containment unit opened. Something stirred in the darkness. Something hungry. something that had been designed to eat entire worlds. Badger, still napping in the storage room, had no idea the stakes had just increased. He dreamed of food, as honey badgers often do. When he woke, he would be hungry again. And Hungry Badger was the most dangerous badger of all. The chase was far from over. Evacuation alarms wailed through Haven 7's corridors. Yara stood in the command center, staring at the screen with pure disbelief. The devourer was loose. Protocol dictated immediate station abandonment, but thousands of people were still aboard, including the entire Galactic Council. "How long until it reaches populated areas?" she asked. Her tactical officer checked the readings. 20 minutes. Maybe less. It's moving toward heat signatures, following life signs. And it's between us and most of the escape pods, Yara added grimly. On another screen, Badger's tracking chip showed him moving through the station's arboretum level, a massive space filled with plants from hundreds of worlds. He had found a stream and was fishing, catching alien equivalents of minnows and eating them raw. "We need to warn the council," Yara said. "Tell them what's coming." Rebecca and Owen ran toward the arboretum. If they could reach Badger first, maybe they could get him to safety before the devourer arrived. The corridors were chaos. Aliens rushed past in all directions, trying to reach evacuation points. "This is insane," Owen panted. Droken released a banned bioweapon to catch one animal. "Pride," Rebecca said. "He can't accept being wrong." They reached the arboretum entrance. Inside, artificial sunlight streamed through transparent ceiling panels. Trees stretched upward, their leaves in every color imaginable. Streams gurgled over rocks. Birds that weren't quite birds sang from branches. Badger sat by the water, completely content. He looked up when Rebecca and Owen approached, chittered a greeting, then went back to fishing. "Come on, buddy," Owen said, pulling out a protein bar. "We need to go now." Badger ignored him. He had found a spot with many fish. He was not leaving. The temperature dropped suddenly. Frost formed on leaves. The not-quite birds fell silent. Something was coming, something that made every prey instinct scream danger. The devourer emerged from the tree line. It defied easy description. Parts of it seemed liquid, flowing and reforming. Other parts were solid, covered in overlapping plates of organic armor. It had too many limbs, too many mouths, eyes that glowed with bioluminescent hunger. It was 4 meters tall at the shoulder. It weighed several tons. It had been engineered to consume biomass and grow larger, to adapt to any environment, to overcome any defense. 3 colonies had been completely devoured before the Galactic Council banned its creation. Rebecca grabbed Owen and pulled him behind a large rock. "Don't move. Don't make a sound." The devourer's many eyes fixed on Badger. Here was prey. Small prey, easy prey. It flowed forward, mouths opening to reveal rows of crystalline teeth. Badger looked up from his fishing. He saw the devourer. He made a sound that Owen would later describe as annoyed. Then he charged. "No," Rebecca whispered, but it was too late. Badger hit the devourer like a furry missile. His claws found gaps in the armor plating. His teeth sank into something that might have been a leg. The devourer roared, a sound that shook the entire arboretum. It tried to grab Badger with 3 limbs at once. Badger was already gone, rolling under the creature's bulk, attacking from a new angle. He went for the eyes. Honey badgers always went for the eyes. The devourer's bioweapon nature became apparent. Where Badger's claws cut it, the wound sealed almost instantly. It adapted. It learned. One of its mouths caught Badger, teeth closing on his midsection. The thick skin saved him. The devourer's bite couldn't pierce it. Badger twisted in its grip and bit the mouth from the inside. The devourer released him screaming. Rebecca watched in horror and amazement. This shouldn't be possible. The devourer was designed to be unstoppable, but nobody had told Badger that. He fought with absolute conviction that he would win. Because honey badgers always won. They were too stubborn to do anything else. The battle raged across the arboretum. Trees fell. The stream ran red with alien blood. The devourer tried everything. Acid spray, poison gas, electrical discharge. Badger shrugged off each attack and came back for more. "Its regeneration is slowing," Owen said, watching from their hiding spot. "Look, those wounds aren't closing as fast." He was right. The devourer needed biomass to heal. It had expected to consume prey quickly, refueling constantly. Instead, it was burning through its reserves, fighting an enemy that refused to die. Badger latched onto what might have been the creature's throat. He bit down and held on, growling continuously. The devourer thrashed. It slammed Badger against trees, rocks, the ground. Badger's grip never loosened. Slowly, the devourer's movements weakened. Its bioluminescent eyes dimmed. It made one last attempt to shake Badger loose, failed, and collapsed. The creature that had eaten 3 colonies was dead. Badger released his grip. He was covered in various fluids, most of them not his own. He had cuts and bruises. One eye was swollen. But he was alive. He limped back to the stream, drank deeply, then lay down in the shade to rest. Rebecca and Owen emerged from hiding. They approached slowly, not wanting to startle him. "That just happened," Owen said. "We both saw that, right?" "We saw it," Rebecca confirmed. "I don't believe it, but we saw it." Security teams arrived, weapons drawn. They stopped when they saw the devourer's corpse. Yara pushed through the crowd, looked at the scene, and turned to Rebecca. "Your animal killed a devourer, apparently. A banned bioweapon that destroyed 3 colonies. Yes, with his teeth and claws," Owen added helpfully. Yara holstered her weapon. "I need a drink." Several drinks, maybe a whole bottle. The news spread through the station instantly. Within an hour, it reached every corner of the galaxy. The impossible had happened again. An Earth creature, something humans lived alongside every day, had killed a devourer. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Droken was dragged before them in restraints. Releasing the devourer was a capital offense under multiple laws. The human creature must have been enhanced, Drokan insisted. Genetically modified. Cybernetically augmented. It cannot be natural. "Then we will test it," the council leader said. She was an ancient being. Her species so old that none remembered their homeworld. "Bring the Earth animal here. Let our biologists examine it." Rebecca carried Badger to the council chamber. He was awake but clearly tired. She set him on an examination platform. Alien scientists swarmed around him with scanners and probes. Badger tolerated it with surprising patience. He even let one nervous insectoid pet his head. The tests took 3 hours. When they finished, the lead scientist presented the findings. "The creature is completely natural," she announced. "No genetic modification. No cybernetic enhancement. No artificial improvements of any kind. It is exactly what the humans claimed. A honey badger. A normal member of its species." Silence filled the chamber. "Impossible," Drokan whispered. "Not impossible. Simply Earth," the scientist said. "We have begun researching human homeworld. The data is disturbing. Earth has more apex predators per square kilometer than any known death world. The humans evolved alongside creatures that would terrify most species. They developed immunity to dozens of venoms. They learned to survive among animals that view them as prey. And this is normal?" someone asked. "For Earth, yes." The council leader looked at Rebecca. "Ambassador Hunt, your species claims it wishes to contribute to galactic society. But you bring dangers we cannot comprehend." Rebecca stood. "We bring survivors. Earth taught us and our animals to never give up. To adapt, to overcome. Yes, our world is dangerous, but that danger made us strong, made us determined. If you judge us by our beasts, remember this. We are the species that tamed them." "Tamed?" The council leader looked at Badger, who was now asleep on the examination platform. "Well, coexisted with," Rebecca amended. "Mostly." The council deliberated for an hour. When they returned, the leader spoke. "Earth's membership is confirmed. Your species is recognized as full galactic citizens. However, we require detailed information about your homeworld's biology for everyone's safety." "Agreed," Rebecca said. "And Ambassador Hunt?" "Yes. Please keep your animal contained from now on." Rebecca looked at Badger, who was snoring peacefully. "I'll try." The galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. 3 weeks after the Devourer incident, formal challenge documents arrived at Earth's embassy. Drokan, though imprisoned, still held enough influence to invoke ancient Draxian law, the Trial of Beasts, a competition to determine which species created superior creatures. If the Draxians won, Earth would be labeled inferior. If Earth won, the Draxians would publicly apologize and pay reparations. The Council allowed it. They wanted answers, too. Was Badger exceptional? Or were all Earth creatures this formidable? Rebecca stood on the transport platform, watching cargo containers being loaded. Each container held an Earth animal and their handlers. She had agonized over her choices. Badger was obvious. But what else? Are you sure about this? Owen asked. He stood beside her, clutching his tablet like a security blanket. No, Rebecca admitted, but we're committed now. Behind them, Grace the elephant sprayed water from her trunk, giving herself a bath. The African elephant was 40 years old, wise and patient. Her handler, a woman named Beth, had worked with her for 20 years. In another container, Rex the saltwater crocodile lay perfectly still in his climate-controlled pool. He was 5 meters long, weighed over a ton, and had survived in the wild for decades before being relocated to a conservation center. His handler, Michael, treated him with the respect one gave to living dinosaurs. Final boarding, an automated voice announced. The journey to the Draxian homeworld took 4 days. Rebecca used the time to study their opponents. The Draxians had prepared 12 creatures, each one a masterpiece of genetic engineering. She watched videos of their capabilities and felt her confidence waver. The Blade Runners moved faster than anything she had ever seen. The Titan Crushers could bend steel beams. The Shadow Stalkers were invisible until they attacked. Each creature was designed for perfection. No flaws. No weaknesses. Earth's animals were just animals, natural, unchanged, full of flaws, but also full of something the engineered creatures lacked. Millions of years of survival instinct. The Draxian homeworld appeared on the view screen. It was beautiful, covered in cities that sparkled like jewels. The architecture was elegant, all curves and flowing lines. But Rebecca noticed the absence of wilderness. No forests, no jungles, just carefully maintained parks and gardens. They terraformed their whole planet, Owen observed. Removed anything dangerous. No wonder they don't understand Earth, Rebecca said. The arena was ancient, built for ceremonies thousands of years old. It was massive, spanning several kilometers. Different terrain zones existed within. Forests, deserts, wetlands, mountains. Stands for spectators rose on all sides, already filled with aliens from hundreds of worlds. Billions more watched via live broadcast. Rebecca walked into the preparation area with her team. The Draxian handlers were there tending to their creatures. They looked at the humans with contempt. One handler, a young male with blue facial markings, approached. "Your beasts will die today," he said. "Our creations are perfect." Beth, Grace's handler, smiled sweetly. "We'll see." The trial master, a neutral official from a species that resembled walking crystals, explained the rules. 3 trials: endurance, strength, and hunting. Each trial would pit Earth creatures against Draxian champions. Judges would score based on performance. First trial begins in 1 hour, the trial master announced. Endurance hunt. 1 predator, 1 prey. Last one moving wins. Drokan appeared on a viewing screen, broadcasting from his prison cell. Humanity claims their beasts are superior. Today we prove them wrong. Today we show the galaxy that Draxian science surpasses Earth's random evolution. Rebecca ignored him. She knelt beside Badger's carrier. "You ready for this?" Badger yawned. He was always ready. The first trial began. A Blade Runner entered the arena, its body sleek and built for speed. It could run at 200 kilometers per hour for extended periods. The crowd roared approval. Badger was released at the opposite end. He looked around, unimpressed by the cheering. Then he saw the Blade Runner. The judges started the timer. The Blade Runner charged. It was a blur of motion, closing the distance in seconds. Badger stood his ground. At the last moment, he dodged. The Blade Runner missed, skidded, turned, and charged again. This continued for 10 minutes. The Blade Runner was faster, but Badger was unpredictable. He dodged, rolled, even climbed obstacles. The Blade Runner couldn't land a hit. "It's trying to tire him out," Owen said, watching from the preparation area. 20 minutes, 30. The Blade Runner's movements became less precise. 60 minutes. It was stumbling. Badger looked as fresh as when he started. Honey badgers could run for hours. They were built for endurance. At 90 minutes, the Blade Runner collapsed. Its engineered body had burned through its energy reserves. Badger walked over, sniffed it, then sat down to wait for food. The crowd went wild. The judges conferred. Earth wins trial 1. Second trial. Strength. Grace walked into the arena calmly, Beth riding on her neck. Their opponent was a Titan Crusher, a massive creature that looked like a bear crossed with a gorilla but 3 times larger. Its muscles rippled with enhanced fibers. The trial was simple. Move a boulder from one side of the arena to the other. The boulder weighed 20 tons. The Titan Crusher approached its boulder. It grabbed the stone with massive arms and lifted. The crowd gasped. It took 3 steps, 4, 5. Then its legs buckled. The enhanced muscles were strong but inefficient. It dropped the boulder and couldn't lift it again. Grace's turn. Beth guided her toward their boulder. Grace examined it with her trunk, testing weight and balance. Then she positioned herself, braced her legs, and pushed. The boulder moved slowly but steadily. Grace understood leverage. She had problem-solving intelligence that no amount of genetic engineering could replicate. She pushed the boulder across the arena, not quickly but methodically. When she reached the goal, she trumpeted victory. The crowd erupted again. Earth wins Trial 2. The Draxian handlers looked worried. Their perfect creatures were losing to natural animals. Droken's face on the screen showed pure fury. Third trial. Hunting. A shadow stalker was released into a mock jungle environment. It was invisible, perfectly camouflaged. It could wait for days without moving. Its prey was Rex the crocodile. Michael released Rex into the water section of the jungle. The crocodile submerged immediately, only his eyes and nostrils visible. Minutes passed. The crowd grew restless. Nothing seemed to be happening. "Where's the stalker?" someone in the audience asked. "Could be anywhere," another replied. "That's the point," Rex waited. Crocodiles were ambush predators. They understood patience better than almost any creature. Hours passed. The shadow stalker moved through the trees, searching for the perfect moment to strike. It found a position above the water. The stalker dropped. Rex exploded from the water. He had known exactly where the predator was. Crocodiles could sense vibrations through water and ground. The stalker had given itself away with the smallest movement. Rex's jaws closed on the stalker with 2 tons of pressure. Then came the death roll. Rex spun in the water, disorienting his prey. The stalker's camouflage failed. It thrashed desperately. Rex held on, rolling again and again. When he finally released it, the stalker crawled onto the shore, defeated. Earth wins Trial 3. The crowd's response was deafening. Aliens jumped and cheered and made sounds that Rebecca couldn't identify. The judges declared Earth the victor. All 3 trials won. Drokon's screen went dark. He had no response, but victory felt hollow. Rebecca watched her animals being led away and felt uneasy. Something was wrong. Drokon wouldn't accept this. He was too proud. Too desperate to prove Draxian superiority. Her instincts were correct. Alarms began blaring. Emergency lights flashed. The trial master's voice echoed through speakers. "Evacuate immediately. A forbidden creature has been released." Rebecca grabbed Owen's arm. "What creature?" He checked his tablet, his face going pale. "Another devourer. Bigger than the last one. Drokon must have had it smuggled in. Where is it?" Heading straight for the arena floor. "Where our animals are," Rebecca ran. She had to reach them. Behind her, Owen shouted something she couldn't hear. The crowd was panicking, rushing toward exits. But Rebecca ran toward the danger, toward her responsibility. She burst onto the arena floor. Grace stood in the center, Beth still on her back. Rex had been released from the water. Badger was loose, probably finding snacks somewhere. The devourer emerged from a tunnel. Bigger and more terrible than the first one, it saw them. It charged. This time, Earth's animals would have to fight together or die. The real trial was just beginning. Beth felt Grace tense beneath her. The elephant trumpeted, a sound that meant danger. Rebecca sprinted across the arena floor, waving her arms. "Get out! Everyone out!" But the exits were jammed with panicking spectators. The arena's emergency protocols had failed. Blast doors should have sealed the devourer away. Instead, they stood open, inviting disaster. The devourer was larger than its predecessor. 7 meters tall, with even more limbs and mouths. Its body pulsed with stolen biomass from whatever it had consumed on the way here. This wasn't just a creature. It was an extinction event with teeth. Michael dragged Rex's transport cart toward the shelter of a rock formation. The crocodile hissed, sensing the threat. Rex had survived in wild rivers where everything wanted to eat him. His instincts screamed at him to hide, to wait, to ambush. But there was nowhere to hide from something this large. Badger appeared from behind a boulder, attracted by the noise. He looked at the devourer. The devourer looked at him. Badger remembered this type of creature. He had killed one before. This one was bigger, but size didn't matter to a honey badger. Threats were threats, regardless of scale. The devourer struck first. A tentacle lashed out fast as a whip. It wrapped around Badger and lifted him into the air. Multiple mouths opened, ready to consume. Then Grace charged. 5 tons of African elephant hit the devourer like a battering ram. The creature stumbled backward, releasing Badger. Grace trumpeted again, a war cry that echoed across the arena. She positioned herself between the devourer and the humans, Beth clinging to her back. "Grace, no," Beth shouted, but the elephant wouldn't abandon the herd. That's what they were now. A herd, humans and animals together. The devourer adapted quickly. It split its attention, tentacles reaching for multiple targets. One grabbed at Grace. She caught it with her trunk, throwing it aside with surprising strength. Another tentacle grabbed Rex's tail. The crocodile spun, jaws snapping, severing the appendage. The devourer screamed. Badger was already climbing the creature's body, using limbs and armor plates like a ladder. He reached what might have been a head and started attacking any sensory organ he could find. Eyes burst under his claws. The devourer thrashed, trying to shake him off. Rebecca reached Owen, who had stayed near the entrance with his tablet. "Can you seal the exits? Keep this thing contained? If it escapes into the city, millions will die," Owen said, fingers flying over the screen. "But sealing them traps us inside with it." "Do it anyway." Owen hesitated, then activated the emergency protocols manually. Blast doors slammed shut around the arena perimeter. They were locked in. "Trapped with a devourer and 3 earth animals. We're going to die," Owen whispered. "Maybe," Rebecca said. "But we'll die fighting." The devourer's regeneration was faster than the first one. Wounds healed almost as quickly as they appeared. It was learning from the earlier devourer's mistakes, adapting its tactics. It tried to grab Badger and throw him, but the honey badger's claws dug too deep. It tried to crush Grace, but the elephant was stronger than it expected. It tried to swallow Rex whole, but the crocodile's armored hide caught in its throat. The 3 animals weren't coordinating consciously. They couldn't communicate across species. But they all understood survival. When the devourer focused on one, the others attacked. When one animal needed space, the others created it. Grace used her size and strength to keep the devourer off balance. She would charge, retreat, charge again. Each impact weakened the creature's structure. Rex stayed low, targeting the creature's lower limbs. Every bite severed something important. Every death roll damaged regenerating tissue. Badger was chaos incarnate. He climbed, bit, clawed, and refused to be shaken loose. The devourer couldn't adapt to something that had no pattern. Honey badgers didn't fight strategically. They fought with pure, stubborn aggression. But the devourer was learning. It stopped trying to hit the animals and started trying to consume them. If it could eat one, absorb its biomass, it would grow stronger, heal faster, eventually overwhelm them. A massive mouth opened near Grace. She tried to dodge, but a tentacle held her leg. The mouth descended. Beth screamed. Rebecca ran forward, knowing she couldn't help but unable to watch her friends die. Rex moved faster than something his size should have been able to. He lunged from the water, latching onto the tentacle holding Grace. His jaws, designed to hold prey underwater until it drowned, clamped down with incredible force. The tentacle severed. Grace broke free. The devourer turned its attention to Rex. This was a mistake. While it focused on the crocodile, Badger found something critical. Every creature had a weakness. A nerve cluster. A vulnerable organ. Something necessary. Badger's teeth found it. The devourer convulsed. Its regeneration stuttered. For a moment, just a moment, it was vulnerable. "Now!" Rebecca shouted, though she didn't know why. Grace understood. Elephants were intelligent enough to recognize opportunity. She charged with everything she had. All 5 tons of muscle and bone and determination. She hit the devourer's center mass just as it tried to recover. The creature folded. Its structure collapsed. Rex was there immediately. Death rolling a major limb, tearing it completely away. Badger bit deeper into whatever critical component he had found, his jaws locked with pure determination. The devourer tried to adapt, tried to regenerate, tried to split into smaller pieces, but it needed time. Time to heal, time to recover. The earth animals didn't give it time. They had learned from watching it fight. They had learned to work together without words. Grace's next charge crushed something that might have been the creature's core. Rex's jaws found another critical point. Badger, covered in various fluids and still biting, didn't stop until the devourer stopped moving entirely. Silence fell across the arena. The devourer lay in pieces, its regeneration finally failing. The 3 animals stood near its corpse, breathing hard but alive. Grace trumpeted, softer this time. Victory but exhausted. Rex slid back into the water to rest. Badger fell off the devourer's remains and lay on the ground, too tired to even groom himself. Beth slid off Grace's back and hugged the elephant's leg. Good girl. Such a good girl. Michael approached Rex slowly, showing proper respect. Never doubted you for a second. Rebecca walked to where Badger lay. She knelt beside him, not touching but close. You're insane, you know that? Badger opened one eye, looked at her, and closed it again. Rest first. Everything else could wait. Owen was already uploading footage to the council. Within minutes, the entire galaxy would see what happened. 3 Earth animals working together instinctively had killed a creature designed to consume worlds. The blast doors opened. Security forces rushed in, weapons ready, expecting carnage. They found 3 exhausted animals, a few humans, and a dead devourer. The soldiers stopped, lowering their weapons slowly. What happened here? Their commander asked. Rebecca stood, brushing arena dust from her clothes. Earth happened. Drokan's trial ended within the hour. Not just his trial. His entire empire faced judgment. Releasing 2 devourers was a crime beyond forgiveness. The Draxian Council called an emergency session. Drokan was stripped of rank, titles, and freedom. He would spend the rest of his life imprisoned. But more importantly, the Draxian Empire issued a formal apology to Earth. They acknowledged what their pride had denied. Earth's creatures were superior. Not because of engineering, not because of enhancement, but because they had survived a world that made them strong. The arena's medical team checked the animals. Grace had bruises, but nothing serious. Rex was unharmed, his armor having protected him. Badger was scratched, bitten, and covered in mystery fluids. But his thick skin had saved him again. He would recover. That night, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. They voted unanimously. Earth fauna would be classified as strategic class biological assets. Any hostile action against Earth animals would be treated as an act of war. Rebecca stood before the council, exhausted and overwhelmed. We didn't want this. We just wanted to prove we belonged here. The council leader, the ancient being who had seen civilizations rise and fall, smiled. Ambassador Hunt, you proved something far more important. You proved that strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from surviving imperfection. Your world is dangerous. Your animals are dangerous. But they are also magnificent. What happens now? Rebecca asked. Now? Now the galaxy learns to respect Earth. And perhaps, if you're willing, we learn from your world. There is wisdom in natural selection that we have forgotten. Rebecca nodded. She looked at Owen, who stood beside her with their 3 champions. Badger was sleeping in his carrier. Grace stood calmly, Beth holding her trunk. Rex lounged in his portable pool as still as stone. We'll teach you, Rebecca said. But in exchange you teach us. That's what allies do, the council agreed. Earth's place in the galaxy was no longer in question. The honey badger had started something that nothing could stop. Respect, understanding, and maybe eventually true friendship between Earth and the stars. 6 months had passed since the trial. Rebecca sat in her Earth Embassy office watching news feeds from across the galaxy. Every channel showed the same thing. Earth animals working alongside aliens, solving problems that had seemed impossible. Owen burst through the door, tablet in hand and excitement on his face. You have to see this. Station Harmony 5 just released their report. Rebecca pulled up the file. Station Harmony 5 had suffered a vermin infestation for 3 years. The local pest control had tried everything. Poison failed. Traps failed. Even military-grade extermination protocols failed. The vermin adapted to everything. Then someone suggested bringing in Earth animals, specifically cats. 6 cats, Rebecca read aloud. They brought 6 house cats to a station with 10,000 inhabitants. Keep reading, Owen urged. 6 cats cleared the infestation in 2 weeks. The vermin, which had survived every technological solution, couldn't handle natural predators that had evolved hunting small prey for millions of years. The cats didn't just kill the vermin, they terrified them. The survivors fled to other stations, spreading warnings through whatever passed for vermin communication. They're requesting 20 more cats, Rebecca said, and they're offering to pay. It gets better. Watch this. Owen played a video. A research station orbiting a neutron star had been trying to solve a complex engineering problem for months. Their best scientists couldn't crack it, so they brought in Newton, an octopus from Earth. The video showed Newton examining the problem. His 8 arms manipulated controls and components simultaneously. His problem-solving intelligence evolved to escape from tanks and open containers, applied itself to the engineering challenge. Within 3 days, Newton found a solution. The scientists were still trying to understand how he did it. An octopus is now the highest-paid consultant in the Sagittarius sector, Owen said, grinning. Rebecca leaned back in her chair. This is getting out of control. Rebecca, it got out of control the moment Badger beat the Devourer. Now every species wants Earth animals. We've had requests for dogs, horses, birds, even bees. Someone wants bees. An agricultural world. Their pollination drones keep breaking down. Apparently Earth bees are more efficient and self-maintaining. Rebecca's communicator chimed. Another request. She opened it and laughed. A diplomatic mission wants to hire a therapy dog. They say negotiations always go better when the dog is present. Because nobody wants to look bad in front of a dog, Owen said. Dogs make everyone act nicer. Throughout the galaxy, Earth animals were proving their worth in unexpected ways. On frontier colonies, horses provided transportation that didn't require fuel or complex maintenance. On mining stations, canaries detected gas leaks more reliably than sensors. On cargo ships, rats provided early warning of food contamination. But not everyone was happy about Earth's sudden prominence. Rebecca received a communication request from the Centauri delegation. She accepted, and the insectoid ambassador appeared on her screen. Ambassador Hunt, we must discuss the Earth animal situation. Is there a problem? Rebecca asked carefully. Yes. And no. The Centauri clicked their mandibles in what might have been frustration. Our military has been studying your fauna. We wanted to understand their combat effectiveness. Our findings are disturbing. How so? Your planet has more apex predators than any world we've surveyed. Your prey animals have defenses that would be classified as weapons on other worlds. A single Earth bee can kill most species with allergic reactions. Your plants are poisonous. Your insects carry diseases. Even your weather is hostile. Rebecca nodded. Earth is difficult. We know. You don't understand, the Centauri said. We've been asking the wrong question. Not why Earth animals are so dangerous, but how humans survived at all. You evolved alongside creatures that should have eliminated you. Yet you thrived. This suggests humans themselves are far more dangerous than we realized. We're adaptable, Rebecca said simply. You're terrifying, the Centauri corrected. Any species that could survive Earth's biosphere and still develop civilization is not to be underestimated. We wish to propose an alliance. Formal military cooperation. Rebecca blinked in surprise. The Centauri want to ally with Earth. Better to fight beside you than against you, the ambassador said frankly. And your animals would be invaluable assets. Similar requests came from other species. Trade agreements, scientific partnerships, cultural exchanges. Earth had become important not despite its dangerous nature, but because of it. Owen compiled the data into a presentation. In 6 months, Earth animals have spread to 237 stations, 73 colony worlds, and 18 homeworlds. They're performing tasks ranging from pest control to therapy to scientific research. And Badger? Rebecca asked, retired to a nature preserve in Africa, living his best life. The preserve has become a tourist destination. Aliens travel across the galaxy just to see him. Rebecca accessed the preserve's live feed. Badger was visible, sunbathing on a rock. Occasionally, tourists would approach the viewing platform. Badger would look at them, determine they weren't food or threats, and go back to sunbathing. He has no idea he's famous, Owen observed. He wouldn't care if he did, Rebecca said. He's a honey badger. Fame doesn't get him food. The preserve's director, a Rothani named Sewell, managed the crowds and protected Badger's peace. Sewell had been skeptical about Earth animals at first. Now they were Badger's biggest advocate. The visitors come expecting a monster, Sewell reported during a call. They leave understanding that nature is not about monsters. It's about survival. Your badger survived by being unkillable, not because of hate, not because of rage, simply because giving up wasn't in his nature. Grace the elephant had been relocated to a sanctuary world, where she lived with other large herbivores from various planets. Beth visited weekly, bringing treats and news. Grace had become a teacher of sorts. Young aliens came to learn from her. She taught patience, gentleness, and the difference between strength and violence. Rex the crocodile remained with Michael at a specialized aquatic facility. He had inspired a new field of study, crocodilian patience. Several species were adapting Rex's ambush tactics to their own hunting practices. Rex didn't care. He floated in his pool perfectly still, perfectly content. Rebecca had written a book, The Earth Catalog, a guide to humanity's co-evolved species. It became an instant bestseller across the galaxy. Aliens wanted to understand Earth, to know about the world that had produced such remarkable life. The book didn't just catalog animals. It told stories. How wolves became dogs, how humans and horses formed partnerships, how cats domesticated themselves. It showed that Earth's strength came from cooperation as much as competition. 1 year after the trial, Haven 7 held a ceremony. They unveiled a statue in the station's central plaza. It depicted Badger facing the Gleamfang, the moment everything changed. The inscription read, "Earth beasts reign supreme, not through perfection but through persistence." Rebecca attended the ceremony with Owen, Beth, and Michael. Dignitaries from hundreds of worlds spoke. They praised Earth, they praised humanity. They praised the animals that had shown them a new way of thinking about strength. But the most important speech came from an unexpected source. A young Draxian scientist named Tala. She had been part of the team that engineered the Blade Runners and Titan Crushers. "We were wrong," Tala said to the assembled crowd. "We thought perfection came from design, from control, from eliminating flaws. Earth taught us that flaws are not weaknesses. They are opportunities. Natural selection is not random. It is the universe's oldest and most efficient engineer. We tried to improve upon billions of years of evolution in a few generations. We failed, not because we lack skill, but because we lack patience. Earth had patience. Earth had time. And Earth created wonders," the crowd applauded. Rebecca felt tears in her eyes. This was what she had hoped for. Not dominance, understanding. After the ceremony, Rebecca returned to her office. A new message waited. Another Earth ambassador was arriving at Haven 7. Their name was David, and he was bringing his support animal. Rebecca opened the attached file. She read the species name and felt her blood run cold. Owen, get in here!" Owen rushed in. "What's wrong?" Rebecca turned her screen toward him. "The new ambassador is bringing a wolverine." Owen's eyes widened. "Oh no. Oh yes. Wolverines are worse than honey badgers. I know. They're bigger, stronger, even more aggressive. I know. And this David person is bringing one to Haven 7, where everyone just learned to respect Earth animals." Rebecca put her head in her hands. What have we done? But deep down, she knew. Earth had shown the galaxy something important. That natural strength came from surviving impossible odds. That real power came from refusing to give up. That the creatures who evolved alongside danger were dangerous themselves. The galaxy had learned to respect Earth beasts. Now they would learn that humanity had hundreds of species like Badger, thousands of stories of survival, an entire planet filled with life that refused to quit. Earth beasts reigned supreme. Not because they were engineered for it, but because Earth itself had engineered them through millions of years of trial, error, and survival. The Wolverine's arrival would prove that lesson once again. But that was a story for another day. Rebecca looked at Owen. "We should probably warn security." "Way ahead of you," Owen said, already typing. "Though I'm not sure any amount of warning will prepare them." "Nothing could," Rebecca agreed. "But that's the thing about Earth, we don't prepare you. We surprise you, every single time." Outside her window, the galaxy spun on. Somewhere out there, on a blue planet orbiting an average star, life continued to evolve, continued to adapt, continued to survive. And somewhere in an African preserve, a honey badger slept peacefully, dreaming of food and fights. Badger had changed the galaxy, not through war, not through conquest, but by being exactly what he was, unkillable, unstoppable, undeniably Earth. And Earth's beasts would reign supreme for generations to come, teaching the galaxy that sometimes the greatest strength comes from the simplest truth: never, ever give up.